Good evening, everybody, and welcome once again to The Last Word. Apologies for my hoarse throat, but screaming and shouting over the weekend. Watching the mighty Reds have a good result away against Chelsea. I think everyone on the panel would agree that sometimes, obviously, you want to win every game of football, but there are occasions where you do consider a draw to be a good result. And I think away to Chelsea, the way that we're playing at the moment was a great result. Just before we start, as ever, we're still in the month of October. Everybody, we're still pink, or keeping it pink as much as we possibly can. Please support anyone and everyone in Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We know this disease is horrible. It affects many, many lives. And any bits that you can do to help would be great. So without further ado then, Ben the Gaffer is joining us. He's just doing something quickly behind the scenes. I've got Anton with me again, Mr. Ton and Marcus. And there may well be a surprise guest appearance from Callum, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So Anton, how's things, mate? You good?
Everything was all right. It was a decent weekend. Happy with the result, but still a bit disappointed considering how we played. But I'm happy, given the other results that happened as well.
Yeah, no, excellent. Mr. Tom, how are you?
I'm all right. Happy with the result. I was expecting a draw. I did say it on the channel on Friday as well. It didn't surprise me. Yeah, man. To be fair, it was a good result at the end, especially how the game went. It was a good result.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Marcus, how are you, old friend?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm slightly disappointed because I think even though going into the game I would have taken a draw, just because of how things played out, is the benefit of hindsight, isn't it? I feel like we should have won, especially because Chelsea didn't even score a goal from open play. But it is what it is. I mean, again, a draw is not the end of the world, especially after watching, Spurs drop points to Newcastle and Arsenal dropping points to Southampton. Really puts things into perspective. So I'm just glad we didn't lose, to be honest with you.
All right, cool. We'll get back into that in a minute then. And Ben, how are you? Good to have you join us again.
Yeah, mate, good. I'm actually really, really positive and optimistic after the last few games, especially yesterday. I said to my dad earlier on, slightly controversial maybe, I think that first half performance, and we'll get into it in more detail, was actually the best I've seen from United for ages yesterday. When you take into account the opposition, how hard we were working, and what we're doing on and off the ball, I thought it was as good, if not better, than against Spurs. The difference is when you're playing against high quality teams, they're able to switch it up, they're able to change things in a bit of a different way than others. So yeah, mate, I'm really happy, and I'm actually really excited about this show because there's so much to talk about, from the positive to the negative, in terms of Martinez, Casemiro, our performances, but then Ronaldo, etc. So yeah, we've got a lot to tackle.
All right, well, let's get into it, lads. I was at the back yesterday. I was watching the game in the pub as I was on a bit of an all-day bender. And I was really looking forward to the game. I wasn't quite sure which Manchester United would turn up. I think Ben's right. The way that we've been playing and the way that we've just started to control games now that we brought Casemiro in from the start, it's been very, very encouraging. I thought the first half performance was encouraging. The way that we pressed, the way that we played the ball through the middle and out wide at speed at times. Our control, our first touch control was much, much better than what it's been for a while. But our Achilles heel is going to be in front of goal. And I think that's an area where I would like to start. And I'm going to go straight to Anton with this one, please. Are you afraid that the possession that we're now creating and the chances we're creating, we don't have that killer instinct in front of goal when you take out Ronaldo?
I wouldn't say afraid, because it's kind of obvious to see the amount of chances we create compared to the amount of goals we actually score is astronomical. And I understand the Ronaldo argument, but he's been playing and hasn't been scoring. So, I mean, obviously he was a miss yesterday. It's easy to say, if he had the chances that Rashford had, he would have scored them, but he might not have been in the same position as Rashford. I think it's all give and take. But, I mean, yeah, I'm a bit annoyed more than worried about the fact that we're just not scoring goals. it's gonna come, like it's gonna click. One game, someone's gonna get battered, and it's not gonna be us, and then that's gonna give us the confidence we need. And Rashford's gonna be able to find the corners instead of the middle of the goal. And when Martial comes back and actually plays for more than 3 games, we might actually see some quicker link-up play up front, which will give us better opportunities in front of goal. Anthony's playing well. Sancho, on the other hand, he's having a bit of a stinker at the moment. You can see there's zero confidence there. The last pass he made before he got subbed is a pass that every footballer makes about 10 times a match, and he just played it way too hard. You can see there's no confidence. So hopefully if he gets back to at least half of the confidence that we know he can, play well under, I think we'll be a little bit more comfy in front of goal. But yeah, we do need somebody up front. It's not Ronaldo. We need someone other than Ronaldo up front who's very clinical. And we're definitely going to have to do business in January. So I'm not too scared, but I'm understanding of the situation.
You're on mute.
Yeah, I thought my headphones are broken.
Sorry, guys.
No worries.
You're absolutely right. Just staying with you for a minute, Anton. You're absolutely right. Rashford offers us a more mobile striking option. I wholeheartedly agree. My thoughts have always been with Rashford, and Ben will back me up on this. When we were talking about number 11, people were, saying that he should be playing through the middle. There's no killer instinct there for me. So that's what I was getting at. I'm not talking about direct comparison between the two, because Ronaldo offers a more static option. 100%, he wouldn't be getting in those positions. But you'd back Ronaldo to put 1 or 2 of those away, I guess was what I was getting at.
I think as well, with Rashford, you can tell there's somebody there who can play up front. Because remember when Ollie came in, we had a match against Newcastle, and there was one particular goal he scored where before Ollie came in, he would have tried to blast it or just do something wild, but he just calmly slotted it into the corner. And you could tell when he has someone over his shoulder who, in Ollie's case, was an ex-striker, he's a very good finisher of the ball. He knows the movements, he knows the type of finishes you have to try and take. I think that benefits him massively. Obviously, Ten Hag isn't a former striker. I think he was a centre-back. So maybe he doesn't have the exact same input that someone like Ollie had, because when Ollie was here, Rashford did score a lot of goals, and that definitely would have helped him a bit. We did get a new striking coach. I think it was Benny McCarthy. And I was hoping that maybe we could see a bit of improvement up there, but it doesn't seem to be doing much so far, which is why I'm thinking we just have to wait for it to click.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Ton, I've left this this comment on because me and you had a chat pre-season, didn't we, about sharing goals in and around the team, and you made a really valid point that's how Ten Hag likes his forward players to share the goals around. We're not quite doing that at the minute. We're not quite getting there. I don't think we're ruthless enough in front of goal. I just wondering what your thoughts are about that comment and our forward play as a whole.
Good question. Actually talking about this today. Early this morning, someone asked me to talk on a space about this, literally, and the way we create our chances. What's happened right now? I've mentioned it on the show, last couple of shows, that when we attack, especially in the final third, there's not a lot of conviction. So also what I'm noticing though, there's no variations in the way we're trying to score goals. As in, if you go to Ten Hag's sides, even all the sides that he had at Ajax, 18, 19 afterwards, a lot of the chances, especially last season, go look at Tadic's high volume of crosses, Anthony's high volume of crosses, even look at how much goals they put across the byline. There's a lot, and especially a lot of opportunities for tap-ins and things like that. I'm not seeing that variation in our play yet. And I think that's just going to come with time, chemistry, understanding each other. Because that's one thing that I've noticed, because like I've always said, like Anthony's game, he looks for the overlap, underlap. And at Ajax, the underlap sometimes was a decoy. So the defender will go out wide, and then, the defense will get dragged aside. Then he comes inside and looks for the cross. So it's like, and I feel like the team is still adjusting to a lot of things and understanding how, don't get me wrong, there's so much good positives and so much nice patterns. I'm seeing really good triangles, so much things I'm seeing. Like, it's that final third now that the team needs to probably understand. But it does help because someone mentioned this to me, when you've got midfielders and then strikers they're very important, right, to each other. So when you got a midfielder that you know where he's going to pass, like you see like Carrick or Paul Scholes, you knew that type of pass they was going to play every time. So the striker knew where to run. Same like Thiago, Thiago at Liverpool, you know that pass he's going to make, right? So with our midfielders, you don't know what pass they're going to make sometimes. And then with the strikers, with the top strikers, the runs they normally make. Do you get what I'm trying to say? With our strikers, it's like it's a bit of both right now. So I feel like it's a bit of harmony, understanding the system, chemistry. There's a lot going on, but it's definitely. I'm definitely happy with the positive signs I'm seeing. I'm not going to lie to you, but you can tell that watching. I said this at the Liverpool game. That's what's funny, is that I could see the signs then, and as we've gone on now, I'm seeing it now. If the manager gets the players eventually how he wants to compete, the final form of us is going to be scary. I'm not going to lie to you. So I can see it. It's some dangerous patterns that I can see on the football pitch, man. I'm not going to lie. Any man that he can't see the potential we now look, especially this manager. He wants to play his way against everybody. Doesn't matter who it is. He wants to play this way against everybody. He wants to dominate the football against everybody. So we had a little spell at Arsenal, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And if you notice, each game it's increasing. We had a 30-minute spell against Chelsea. It's going up now. It's even against City, we lost, but the manager wanted to play football against them. It's a big difference what we had over the 5 years of. And I remember Klopp saying it one time. Ever since I've been a Liverpool manager, they've just played the same way of football. Like they don't really attack us. So it's changing now, man. I'm actually happy with the positive signs I'm seeing.
Yeah.
The forward line, everything, the link-up play. Maybe that will come with better players. Who knows? Maybe it will come with a striker. Who knows? But there is positive signs, man. There is, honestly. It's just.
You're not wrong, Mr. Tom. We'll go into the difference maker, who we all know who that is, just a little bit next 5-10 minutes. Marcus, I've left this comment on for you, mate, because this is kind of right up your street. We've spoken about the Ronaldo conundrum on a number of occasions. Chance creations with, chance creations without. But then what's the stats of him actually putting the ball in the back of the net to not putting the ball in the back of the net? So I think this is perfect for you, this one, Marcus.
Yeah, I don't really know what the chance creation stats are with and without Ronaldo, but if I had to hazard a guess, I would probably say that we probably create more chances without him at the moment. Maybe last season it was a different story, but at the moment, I feel like when Ronaldo's in the team, we're very static. We're not that fluid, especially like when we get into the final third. I think when Ronaldo drops deep, he doesn't quite have the legs to start like a build up with his interplay and then get on the end of his own chance. And that's the difficulty with being a striker who plays and prides themselves on hold up. If you're going to do hold up duties, you have to be quick enough and have the stamina enough to get back at the other end and be able to finish the chance. Because if you drop on the halfway line to play a couple of passes between you and the midfielder, by the time that ball gets to the byline and the cross comes in, you've got to be back in the box. And in football, it's such a quick transition. And I don't think Ronaldo has the legs to do that anymore. However, we still don't have a striker. So it's, you got to pick your poison. Do you want to play Ronaldo and be more static, but hope that you get that one chance and he puts it away? Or do you want to create more chances and just hope that Rashford, is wearing his shooting boots that day? For me, I picked the latter simply because I feel like when Rashford plays up front, yes, he's not a proper number 9, but he still offers us something that we can use. And even though Sancho hasn't been great, I still think that if he can, kick on, and then you've obviously got Anthony on the other side, that could be a scary front three and it could work for the short term. I really do genuinely believe that. And by the way, I'm not a fan of Rashford playing up front. I'm just saying it's the better of the two evils at the moment. I'm not convinced by Ronaldo this season, and all the people saying that he would have scored the chances yesterday evening, where was he against Ammonia? Even last season, I think 6 of his goals came against 2 opposition, which was Norwich and Spurs. He scored 2 hat-tricks. So if you take those 2 games away, he essentially scored 12 goals across 38 games in the season. That's not great. that's not great. I remember the Middlesbrough game in the FA Cup where he missed so many chances. There was another game in the FA Cup. I can't remember if it was Burnley or another team, but he hasn't been as great as some people are making out. And as much as Ronaldo's a legend of the club and he's one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, he's just not that guy anymore, you know? And I think we need to accept that as a fan base. And for me, yeah, I think you've got to go with Rashford and wait for Martial to get fit. I think Ten Hag has got to stick with it. You know, that's just me.
No, well, look, I think it's a fair assessment. I played in plenty of teams where we've, our chance creation is high, but our actual finishing has been abysmal. And you come off that pitch and you're sitting in that dressing room and you're looking around and you're looking at the, Rashford, or you're looking at Sancho and you think, fuck yeah, Jesus Christ, lads, you've got to hit the target. And you're having this internal conversation in amongst yourselves. What's going on? We're putting you in the position to do it. We're defending much better at the back. We're keeping clean sheets. We're not conceding anymore. But you boys, you're not scoring. Get out and work extra hard on the training ground. But that was just us. But Ben, what's your take on this? Because we've had many a conversation about Ronaldo. We've had many a conversation about Rashford, Martial, and on number 11 going through the middle. You know my opinion. You know how I feel about instinct. Number 9 is an instinct position. That's the type of player that we need. Well, what's your thoughts on our chance creation as opposed to potentially not getting over the line on the big games?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because I heard the Roy Keane and Gary Neville chat the other day, and I feel like it was thrown out of proportion a little bit from what Roy Keane was trying to say. He was trying to say that Ronaldo has that enthusiasm, that energy to still want to be the best player in the world, even if his legs are telling him that he can't be. And I think that Gary Neville was trying to turn around and say, yeah, but he isn't our best player in the world anymore, and United are not a better team with him. And that I agree with. I really don't believe that Ronaldo is right for this United front line. But the issue we've got is we don't have a clinical striker. We don't have a striker that is going to score 20 to 25 goals this season. The only other team that you can say don't have a striker in the top 4 race like that is probably Chelsea. Tottenham do with Harry Kane and potentially Son chipping in goals. City, I think they do. Liverpool, you could argue should have, with Núñez and Salah being enough. United, you look at that front line and you do wonder a little bit where those goals are going to come from. And I think yesterday proved that. We had everything but that ruthlessness that you talk about. My issue with Rashford is, and this is going to sound really bad when I say it out loud, but let me explain it further. The issue with having Rashford as a 9 is he's going to make your wingers look bad. And what I mean by that is a number of times yesterday, both Sancho and Anthony had a ball, and this isn't me trying to defend Sancho at all because he had a very awful game yesterday. So, but hear me out here. They had the ball in very promising positions where they could either square out their man, take him on, go to the bar line, pull the ball across, or they could bring the ball back, play it back, keep it safe, keep control of possession. Sancho squared up his man a couple of times and went to do that. But when he looked in the box, there was no one there. Rashford wasn't there. He was hanging on the edge of the box. And the same happened with Anthony a couple of times. He went to get the ball on his left foot in a couple of yards of space to be able to whip the ball in. Rashford was nowhere to be seen. Rashford wasn't there. He wasn't making the run. He hasn't got that. And we called it the football now, didn't we, Stu? He doesn't have that mindset. He can't paint that picture in his head as a centre forward to know when to go, to know where to run, to get on the end of a potential ball coming through. Sometimes you've got to make the run even if you don't get the ball as a centre forward. Rashford doesn't do that. He's lazy when it comes to that. He'll make the run if he's on the halfway line and he's got 20 yards of space in behind to run into.
I was literally about to say that, like, Rashford only runs when he's on the halfway line and there's no one between him and the goal, and then he's offside half of the time.
His best chance yesterday, and he's a number 9, but his best chance yesterday came from him picking up the ball about 25 yards out and driving at the centre back and running at the centre back and hitting it. I still don't even think his best chance was the little ball through and the one-on-one, because I think it's difficult for him to get the ball out of his feet.
Tight one, that was.
The best chance came when he drove at the player and then hit it and was straight at the goalkeeper. And that happened a few times where he hit the ball more or less straight at the Loris as well against Tottenham. And that's my issue with Rashford. The problem is the wingers then have to work so much harder and be so much more negative in the way that they play because they haven't got that player in the middle making the movement. And the only way you can then make that movement up is if you do what we did in the first half a little bit better in terms of pushing Eriksen and Bruno up as 2 10s. Problem is, Bruno and Eriksen want the ball more than they want to be second strikers. So they're always going to navigate and move and float towards the ball and take up space towards the ball instead of getting in the box. So the issue with United here isn't controlling the game anymore. We've set the foundations. We're doing well on that. We've got our defensive block.
I was just about to say this.
How do we get movement in the box? Because our wingers have the quality to find those players. They have the quality to take players on. But what's the point? What's the point in Sancho taking a player on, getting to the bar line and putting it across just to get the ball blocked? What's the point? So pass back. And then yes, he loses the ball cheaply, or we don't get any further forward than we were. That's the predicament that we're in a little bit now. And Hammer, shut up. Hammer, who are you? I've just been watching the Austin Grand Prix for the past 2 hours, and now you're pitching in. Blimey, I can't get Americans out my system at the moment, can I? But yeah, that's my thought on it. But then that's the issue we've got with Ronaldo. He will make those short bursts, but he won't make those runs behind. So we're less dynamic with him.
So, guys, I say this a lot, and I'm going to say it again now, because this is why you should watch AFU. Because if you want to understand football, not from a basic level, from a level of intelligence,
you just need to come and speak to me.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. No, but Ben, you're absolutely right about what you say. It's not sometimes that players are having bad games; is that made to look bad? Because you're absolutely right. If there's no one in the box, what is the point of going down the byline? You may as well knock it back to Shaw, or knock it back to Dallo, knock it into Bruno, knock it back to Casemiro, and then restart your build-up. Just imagine, lads, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, but just imagine Edison Cavani is playing in this setup that you saw yesterday, that you saw against Newcastle, you saw against Tottenham. You know, he lived in the 12 yards. That was his area. Can you just imagine from a Sancho point of view and an Anthony point of view, that type of movement in the box, that instinct in the box? Wow. We just scored 2, 3, maybe 4 goals against Chelsea yesterday. I want to touch on...
Sorry, Stu, can I also say that I vividly remember the only proper cross we had that landed in the middle of the box against Ammonia a few weeks ago. Fred got on the end of it. Imagine if it was Cavani. Imagine if it was Ronaldo. Exactly. You know, it happens more than people think. I mean, it literally happened against Chelsea. That's how we survived the game, is by Casemiro getting his head on the end of the ball. It's weird how like our number 9s, whoever's playing up front, unless it was like a Cavani, they just don't have the instinct to run through the middle, whether it's Martial, Rashford, or whoever else has been a makeshift number 9 over the last 10 years.
It's funny, isn't it, how football's changing? Isn't it, football? Sorry, Ben. I was just about to say it's funny how football's changing. We're now not talking about the false 9 anymore. We don't want these little digits running in and around and making defenders. We want to see powerful, strong strikers getting in the box, elbowing out the way, getting across the to the front post, getting a flick on and stuff like that. So, sorry, Ben.
No, I just want to say, I don't want to make a big conversation about this, but I put this on my Twitter the other day. What striker centre forward do you like at the club? And I think someone like Tony's worth a pump. I stick by it. I watched Spurs and Newcastle today, and watching Harry Kane with shackles on has got to be the most frustrating thing I've ever seen in my whole entire life under Conte. You stick Harry Kane in this Manchester United team, and he cooks. He absolutely cooks. He would be beyond perfect for this Manchester United side. Yes, his injuries are a concern, or you could say his injuries are a concern, but he hasn't had any issues since his last batch. But I just think you need a player that is extremely intelligent. We're limited with young forwards coming through at the moment. Tottenham are going to get 160 million for him. At some point, his contract's going to start cutting down. I genuinely believe Ten Hag with Harry Kane in his side is... Could you imagine Anthony cutting into his left foot, putting crosses in the box for Harry Kane, moving left, right and centre? Could you imagine Bruno pinging the ball up for Harry Kane, backing up against the defender to then flick it on to Rashford on the left-hand side, running through? It would be a match made in heaven. I keep seeing this play out in my... Mr. Tunch, you know when you say you keep seeing things play out in your head? Ever since I said it to myself, I just keep seeing these motions in my head, and it just works, and I can't get away from it.
But before we go to the next topic, I just want to back up Ben's point. So someone brought up an interesting stat to me. I think it was yesterday. Just to back that up, we're actually, all our play is actually coming through the middle. There's hardly a lot of play actually going through the wings, and because like what he's saying, the wingers can't there's nothing for them to cross to or do any wing play to anybody. Literally, like, so the stats back that up, that everything's going through the middle. Like, literally. So that's definitely a point of concern moving forward. The striker vocal point is I would love to see what striker we get in the summer, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Well, it's our next missing piece, isn't it? Because we've been crying out for 2 years about a central midfield, and we all know football, and we've all spoken about the importance of a proper specialist as a six, and we're now seeing a proper specialist in as a six. Casemiro, well, what a player! I mean, if you watched anything out of yesterday's game, or you watched Casemiro play, you'll understand the simplicity of his football, but yet the intelligence behind what he does. It's phenomenal. A good holding six, as I've always said, and I'll bring Anton in after this, mate, please. A good holding six, as I've always said, he'll get the ball, he'll take it from the centre half, he'll take it from a fullback, or he'll take it from a Bruno or an Eriksen. He'll put his foot on it and he'll deliver. And then what he does, if you watch Casemiro, he walks for about 30 seconds and he looks and he assesses. And the reason he does that is because he's wary of turnover. So by walking, he's staying within his vicinity where he needs to be on that pitch, just in case there's turnover. If the play expands for the next 10 seconds, he'll start to jog just left to right, maybe slightly in front of him, ready, again, position-wise if we lose turnover, but he's then ready to make the extra man just outside the 18-yard box. He is a phenomenally intelligent footballer. He really is. And it's an art to watch. And I was just thinking about your thoughts on Casemiro, your thoughts on what he brings to Manchester United, and the kind of aura that he also brings when he steps onto the pitch.
I love him. Whenever I think about Casemiro and what we have now, I always think about what we've been having to deal with. And your point there of him staying in the correct positions, I think is very important as well, because when we've had McTominay or Fred or McFred in the middle in the six positions or position, they all, whenever we lose the ball, whenever the ball gets turned over, they're so far up the pitch because that's not their natural position. And then we're having to chase back. The whole team's chasing back on the counter attack where it's like maybe 3 against 4 or 4 against 3 in or against our favor. But with Casemiro, if we lose the ball, when we do lose the ball, he's just there, and it's just like there's less worry for me now. I realized when I'm watching Manchester United play, I'm less stressed because we have genuine players on the pitch who specialize in actual positions. Because for years we've been having we've playing Pogba on the left and Pogba a central midfielder playing left wing. We've been still playing Rashford up front. We're playing Mata on the right. We're playing McFred in the central defensive midfield positions. Like we've had mismatches all over the pitch. But now, since Ten Hag has come in, obviously we've got the centre back partnership. Obviously, Varane's injured now; he's not going to feature for us before the World Cup. But we have Lisandro Martinez. We have again decent competition for left back. When Malacia was playing, he was very good. Now look, Shaw's got his position back. He's also playing very well. We've got not the best right back cover, but in the central defensive midfield position, we have Casemiro. And if he can play there by himself, which he has been doing a little bit, it's very good because with him there, Eriksen can push up as well as Bruno Fernandes, and it gives us even more opportunity to create goal scoring chances. And we have. If you look at the stats, we haven't been scoring a lot because that missing piece of the puzzle in the striker position is still there, but we're still creating a lot of chances. We're getting into better positions. And I think I said it last week, but as the games go on, you can see us speeding up the play, which is good. Because it's all nice and well being able to keep the ball, pass it around the box and create some opportunities, but you create more by passing it quicker, passing it into the spaces that have been vacated because, you know, the opposition are chasing shadows. And I think in January, I can't remember who asked the question on the chat, but Ben said Harry Kane. Yeah, he'd be perfect, but I have to be realistic with myself. We're not going to get him. I don't know if you guys have seen Osimhen's goal from today.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
He's an absolute bully. He's not as good as Haaland, but that goal just reminded me of the way Haaland just bullies defenders. Like he didn't look like he had a problem at all, and he just smashed it across the keeper from a ridiculous angle as well. He'd be amazing. I've always said Jonathan David. I saw a few reports. João Felix looking to leave Atletico Madrid. Don't know why I went there in the first place, but if he's available in January, I think he'd be a good fit for Eric Ten Hag as well. But yeah, Harry Kane would be my choice. Oh, Ivan Toney as well. I forgot about him. Yeah.
Tony's been spoken about a lot. He really has. Mr. Tom, and guys, please just come in now, because the Casemiro thing I think is really important. It's an important discussion point because he's been phenomenal for us. I know people were saying he's a waste of space right at the very beginning of the season. You know, why do players need to take time to acclimatise, etc., etc., etc. But he's now showing why he was bought, in my humble opinion, Mr. Tom.
Yeah, what did me and you still keep saying and stressing? We need him in that team for control, for that experienced head. We needed him there, and I get it. Ten Hag was probably trying to find a place for him in the team tactically to switch it up, which I've noticed. But he needed to be in that team a bit earlier. I'll be honest to you. I saw a little glimpse of it sometimes when he came on. The commanding of telling other players, look, calm it down. We need to do this. And keeping it simple and just ticking things along. You need that sometimes, and it's positive signs, isn't it? Once again, you could see if you get probably another quality midfielder in there, it takes us up that another level. And one thing that what I've noticed, and this is not a slate to Ericsson or Bruno or Scott McTominay or Fred. Casemiro is just levels above, and he just won more and achieved more in the game, unfortunately. And then one thing I love about him, he's always trying to attempt line breaking passes, something we've lacked from midfield. That is something we've lacked. You saw it with the Everton game, and he break that pass just took out 4 or 5 man out of the game. That's what you need sometimes. Like, I don't understand why. What happened to Man United doing that? We've done that before, that years ago. I don't understand what happened to us putting balls through the lines. I just don't understand why that it took us so long to get a midfielder that can just do that. It's not something, not over the top, move it long, not just break the lines. And it would have been nice. Unfortunately, Man United, we worked backwards to have somebody like him next to a Pogba. Do you know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, you know right. How we are. We needed a DM next to a ball progressor, and now we need a ball progressor next to a DM. So you know how Man United works. Nothing new.
No, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Marcus, you've been waxing lyrical about Casemiro. You appreciate that type of footballer. You appreciate what he brings to the game. In terms of his overall composure, in terms of his overall ability to spot a 2-yard pass, which is more important than actually than a 20-yard pass, because that progresses you up the field a lot quicker. What else do you think he's got to offer the unit as a whole? And I've got a special question for Ben, by the way.
Yeah, I think Casemiro, the thing is, a lot of people thought of him as this destroyer, as this guy who specializes only in breaking up the play and doing the donkey work. And the truth is, he's so much more than that. Now, yes, he does specialize in that, and that's what he is good at. But what makes him a world-class player is that he's actually quite a well-rounded midfielder. And for me, playing good passes, it's not just about your technical ability. It's also about your vision of the pitch. Because you can have all the technical ability in the world, but if you're not actually making the right decisions and you're not reading the game properly and doing what your manager wants, then you're going to end up looking like a bad player. And I don't know if you guys noticed, the first time Casemiro started, the first couple of games, him and Delot really struggled. Delot specifically kept misplacing passes and didn't know where to find Casemiro. That changed against Chelsea. There were a few times where Delot actually played the pass exactly where Casemiro was running into, and vice versa. So that's a sign of improvement. And what I like about Casemiro, on top of everything else, like you said, to answer your question, is the leadership. Right? Forget the vision, forget the technical ability, forget the line, being able to break up the play. It's the leadership. It's how he's able to bring a composure in the midfield and in that team that we haven't seen for years. And on top of that, he just never seems nervous or flustered. Yes, he makes mistakes. Sometimes he has a heavy first touch, but he always seems in control. And that's really important, especially in a game like the one against Chelsea, when you're in front of a hostile crowd, the game's not really going your way in terms of the chances you're creating. You're not really putting them away. Just to have someone to keep saying, guys, let's keep going, let's keep pushing. Even when you go 1-0 down, to have someone who's able to run at the other end and not give up and end up scoring because of it, right? You need characters like that in the team. And I think that is the most important thing. How many times have we sat on here over the years, some of you longer than me, and spoken about the lack of leadership and the lack of mentality in that team. So he brings something that we've needed for a very long time on top of the technical ability. And I absolutely love it, man. It's a breath of fresh air.
No, Marcus, you're absolutely right, because that's how I see it. But there's more to it as well, isn't there? Because we talk about his influence moving forward. Let's talk about his influence in front of the back four. And this is why I want to bring Ben in, because myself and Ben, pre-season, we're having a couple of seasons ago, we're having conversations about Varane. I made a few points and Ben countered, etc. And we both came to a happy medium about Varane in the end, didn't we? We were kind of both right in our points. I want to hark back to our good old friend, Harry Maguire. Now, people will look at this and say, well, Maguire's rubbish, blah, 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 blah. Ben, what would Casemiro do for Maguire's game? How would Casemiro help Harry Maguire?
Well, if he's fit, he plays instead of Lindelof, 100%. I don't care what anyone else. He does, and this whole thing that Harry Maguire's shit is just short-term memory. He's not shit. Like, we can have conversations about whether he stylistically suits the Ten Hag system. We can have conversations around his mentality. We can have conversations around his leadership skills. But the fact of the matter is Harry Maguire is, on his day, a very good defender, and he showed that he can consistently be a very good defender for a good period of time. United broke a number of hours without conceding any goals with Harry Maguire and Lindelof at centre-back, and that was when Harry Maguire was playing absolutely superbly with hardly any protection. So I don't agree with. And this is why the other day in an AFU chat, I also went off on the fact that we're now calling Sancho shit. He's not shit. Like, we can't just call players shit. They go through bad patches, but they all bring something. Yes, we can have conversations about whether he suits the system or whether he does this or whether he does that, but he is not a bad footballer. But Hammer has made the World Cup Team of the Year and also the Euro Team of the Year, and you don't do that by not being up to the level of being a great footballer. So I slightly disagree with that. Either way, with Harry Maguire, when he comes into this team, if he's got someone around him that can take some of the pressures off of him, I think it gets the best out of his game. So when you have a look at that defence and how we've got it now, he's not going to be next to Shaw, who's defensively, I still feel, a liability when it comes to his position and his work rate. I still feel we saw way too many times yesterday Martinez coming across and covering the left-hand side, leaving Varane isolated with Aubameyang, and that frightens the life out of me if then we're going to throw Maguire into that equation. So there's a bit of a concern there. But Dalot has improved massively with the protection of Anthony. So if we're playing Maguire as the right-sided centre-back next to Martinez, I think that puts him in a position that's a heck of a lot safer than it was 6 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago. So he can sort of come in and build his confidence there. On top of that, he's got Martinez next to him, who's going to be the bulldog and do the running for him, so he doesn't have to do that running. He's got to make sure his communication's there, but the one thing that he doesn't need to do is be communicating on the left, on the right, and in front, because Casemiro will take that front communication away from him and will be directing Maguire where to go. Plus, you've got De Gea behind him, who's, again, a lot more confidence. Our line's a little bit deeper, I feel, now as well. So I think Maguire could be helped massively by Casemiro in that side, but not just Casemiro. Let's not forget about Anthony, by the way. There's a reason why Dalot looks a lot better. And I said this earlier on, and it's Anthony. Anthony works hard. Defensively, he gets in good positions. He also doesn't waste the ball so that United are struggling on the turnover and Dalot constantly having his back to goal and someone running at him. So United have got a number of players that make this team a lot safer and a bit more of a safety net. So for me, bringing Maguire back into this team, I'm not concerned. Yes, we'll miss Varane. I think Varane's quality. But I think Casemiro has a much bigger impact on this side, like you say, when it comes to the people around him. And Marcus, you hit the hammer on the head there. Character. You can trust him. You could stick a 19-year-old in that defense behind Casemiro and you have just full trust in him. And we haven't had a player like that in a very, very long time in this United side. And one more thing I just want to hit. Mr. Tom mentioned there about a line break, like Casemiro's line breaking passes. He played one ball the other day where he switched to play from right to left. And I think it's Aspilicueta didn't get anywhere near it, and he's played it over his head. I haven't seen a Manchester United midfielder play a pass like that since Carrick, over the top like that. It was ballsy, it was on the edge, and it was perfect. And it was brilliant because he took, like Mr. Ton said, 5 players out of the game with one pass. And that's the quality you get with someone like Casemiro. So, yeah, he's got everything. I think mate, you know what I'm like with midfielders being able to have that vision, see the game. I think he's orgasmic in so many different ways. That's
as are you on a Monday evening, I'm told.
I don't play Mondays anymore, so that's probably why.
Yeah. Marcus, sorry, go on.
I was actually going to say something about Maguire, but just on the Casemiro point, actually, you reminded me there was a period in the Chelsea game where he was actually being pressed by 3 or 4 Chelsea players, and he received the ball on the halfway turn and pinged it over. He got on the half turn, turned around, and played a long diag to Antony. And that pass was so impressive to me for 3 reasons, really. 1, just how quickly he was able to look over his shoulder and check that Antony was there. 2, how calm he was to know that was the right decision. And 3, the execution, right? Because again, the technical ability required to pull that off is insane. But just on the point about Maguire, wrap that out.
Marcus, before you move on to Maguire, just on that, again, just to bring it back to what I was saying a second ago, and not trying to thingy, but for Antony to be in that position, is superb. And for Casemiro to know that and have that trust that Antony was going to be there. Last season, there wouldn't have been someone sat there. He would either have been way too far back and not have the energy to find that space, or be way too far up the pitch, leaving everyone exposed, so that ball would go out of play. I think that's what Antony delivers. He's such a visionary. He can see the play, and he's so good at finding space. Sorry, I just wanted to...
And listen... I spoke about this in a game that was completely unrelated to Man United. Like, I was watching Arsenal earlier and I was thinking to myself, like, one thing they really have locked down is their off the ball movement. And I think we're starting to see that with Manchester United as well. It's such an underrated part of football, because when football fans talk, throw buzzwords around like patterns of play, that's what we're talking about. How often do you see someone run into the same position and the same pass gets made over and over again? And I think with Casemiro and Antony, you're going to see that a lot this season, because Antony clearly understands where he needs to be and Casemiro is happy to, give him the ball. But just on the point about Maguire, to wrap it up, I do think, and I still stand by what I said earlier on in the season, during preseason, I do think that Maguire will benefit next to someone like Martinez. I know that the thought of Martinez being this aggressive defender who drifts out of position, gives people heart palpitations when they think that Maguire is the only one left, but I actually think that makes him a better player. I think Maguire is worse when he has someone next to him who's also passive, who also just sits back. I think he needs somebody who runs and does the hard work for him. I think he needs somebody who does drift out of position and says, you know what, I'm going to stop this line breaking pass. I'm going to stop this cross from coming in. And Maguire can just sit and basically be the cover. The thing is, though, he can't ball watch. He needs to be alert. He needs to be able to say, okay, whilst Martinez is doing this, I'm going to pick up the runner. I'm going to make sure that the number 9 is marked and I'm going to follow him. Maguire had a really bad moment in the Brighton game in the opening day of the season where Martinez ran across to try cover. I don't know if it was a cross or pass into the back of the box, and he basically just watched it come across. He needs to cut that out. If he does cut that out, he will be a significantly better player. And as Ben pointed out, Casemiro is in front of him now as well. So I think just as a unit, we defend better as a team, and Maguire is going to benefit from that. I think people need to just calm down with the agendas. And look, for me, the jury's still out on Maguire, but that's a topic for another day. At the end of the day, he's still a Manchester United player, and whether we like it or not, he's gonna play. So hopefully, he does improve.
Let's also not forget, by the way, compared to the start of the season when we were first seeing Maguire and Martinez next to each other, the Premier League, like everything, the pressure and the question marks on Martinez's shoulder was huge. He sailed it. What a player! Like, what a player Martinez is. Yeah. I mean, he could go on to become, if he carries this on, he could go on to become one of our greatest ever centre-backs. And I'm not saying that lightly. He is that good. And fans are taking to him that much. He's super. There's nothing he does now in a game that's wrong. at the start of the season, I remember us having a conversation, Stu, about like little things he was doing where, you know, he's letting the player go there, or he's rushing in too early and he was being cynical, going to ground too quickly. He's improving. And it's scary that Martinez is improving. I know Mr. Ton's watched a lot of Ajax as well, so can probably speak a little bit more about his progression to where he is now. But even compared to where he was at the end of last season, his level's above that already. It's scary that Martinez is continuing to grow here, because genuinely, like, you've got Martinez, Casemiro, Bruno, Anthony in a team that's bonding. Like Mr. Tom said, it's actually, look at the smile. It's frightening for the opposition. It's scary.
It's great to see. I mean, you know, as a centre half myself, I am the aggressive. I've always been the aggressor, and I've needed a ball playing centre half by me. Although I'm comfortable at, you know, bringing the ball out, etc., etc. I'm a better tackler. I'm a better header. I'm a better scrapper when it comes to, you know, as a centre half. So I'd love to play. You know, against somebody, you know, like Haaland. And before anyone starts laughing at me, I'm talking about the physique. I'm not talking about the type of player. I'm talking about the physique, because that's where I was at home. I was comfortable with that type of player. Martinez loves it. Martinez says, I'm 5'9". I don't care, pal. Come on. I will drag you down. I will fight you. I will wrestle you. And when I get the ball, I'm going to leave you for dead, because I'm just going to tinkle away. You know, and that's brilliant about him. Anton, I'm going to put you on the spot with Maguire as well, because I think it's an important conversation piece, because we are going to be, you know, Ten Hag's got a decision to make now. I don't know how far Maguire is coming off injury. We know he's likely to go to the World Cup. The World Cup squad gets announced in the next couple of weeks. Starts to get whittled down now. Do you think Casemiro can have the desired effect with him? And then Mr. Tong just come straight in, pal.
Yeah, I do, because as I
We'll
said
let Callum
before,
in, by the way.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, go on.
As I did say before, we and Harry Maguire have had to deal with McTominay and Fred in front, the two players in the team who probably aren't that good in the position. They don't instill confidence in the players around them, and you could see that with Harry Maguire. Obviously, before, I think it was the Euros, he did. I would say that was his best season probably in his career, definitely whilst being at Manchester United. And I didn't actually know about the record that we had for not conceding goals, but obviously Harry Maguire was part of that. One thing I can say about Harry Maguire, though, is I think eventually when we get playing the way Ten Hag really wants to play, I don't think it's for him. He's still a good defender. He's not a rubbish player. He's a Premier League footballer. He's an international footballer. So he's not a terrible footballer by any means, but I think eventually when Ten Hag gets to where he wants to get to, Maguire won't be a part of the fixture. But for now, yeah, of course, Casemiro can help him. It gives Maguire someone to give the ball to with confidence, get the ball back, proper pass with confidence. On that proper pass, I will say one thing that does really annoy me about Manchester United is that we are so slow when we're passing the ball around. Go and watch Liverpool, City, Arsenal. When they pass the ball around, they're popping it about, they're cutting the grasses with their passes. When we're playing it from a centre-back to a full-back, it's just dribbling. And it's just like, if you pass that with a bit of pace and power, we could actually get ourselves up the pitch faster. We could take advantage of an opposition player maybe out of position, but we just don't. It's almost like we don't think 2 or 3 passes ahead. We think about, okay, this pass is here. Okay, that's me done. Oh, I might need to go and get it back. That's what it feels like when I watch. But on that as well, with Casemiro in the team, Marcus spoke about it as well. I know the pass you were talking about when he kind of played it over his shoulder. Van Dijk done it a couple of times for Liverpool, yeah. So I like that pass quite a lot. But because we have Casemiro in the team, he thinks very visibly about 10 seconds ahead. He knows where the ball's going to go, and he knows if he passes it there, Rashford's going to be there, and Anthony can pick up, and there's going to be it's stuff like that. And it's nice to see because it's so obvious, and it's like, how has it taken us this long to address this issue? And all it's taken is getting Casemiro, but all it's taken is just replacing McFred. I think everything absolutely right. The team is just amazing.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Just before we bring Mr. Ton in, look who's back. Dear. This is where Ben, you should be putting the old Eminem song on. Look who's back.
Is he? Have you been away that long, Callum? You look like you've aged about 25 years. I'm sure it's only been a couple of weeks.
Yeah, maybe I have aged. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way I look now, isn't it?
I think he's grown his beard properly for once.
It looks good.
The beard's a bit longer, I suppose.
Are you getting that dyed for you, or?
Yeah, I was going to say if you had it dyed, yeah.
No, I haven't had it dyed. Trust me, there's still plenty of grey there.
No, look at how
Anyway,
easy
Cal,
the sides are. That's definitely been dyed and cut to a T.
Now you're back, pal. We'll put you in your rightful position. And,
take over. See you later.
Too right. And so Mr. Ton, and then Cal coming straight in after Mr. Ton with regards to Maguire, if you don't mind. Have you heard what we've been talking about?
I've not. I've literally just got on here, mate.
All it was, we were discussing the effect that Casemiro's had on the team moving forward, but also moving backwards as well, and whether or not now Varane's injured again, which I want to go into Varane's injury record, whether or not Casemiro would help Maguire. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Go on, Mr. Son. Sorry, go ahead, mate.
Yeah, it's a weird one, man. If we're dominating the football and things like that, I'm not really concerned about Maguire being in the team. Same way I'm not concerned with Lindelof being in the team. It's just the other part now when you're defending, and what Varane has been good at is being very aggressive and quick. He's got a very, he's quite quick. So sometimes, if you notice in games, Varane even goes into the opposition half to anticipate and win the balls. So that's one thing we are going to miss. With Lindelof and Maguire, they're very similar to me. Very good passes of the ball. But just defensively, I wouldn't say, in the way the system and the way we want to play, the manager likes you to be very aggressive. And I think if Harry Maguire does come back in, he has to anticipate things a bit better, if that makes sense. And that's one thing I would say, if you go back and look at some of the goals that people put blame on him, it's just him anticipating things in the wrong way. He tries to do the right things, but in the wrong way. And the other thing is communicating. I forgot what game it was. No, the first game him and Lisandro Martinez played, where Welbeck came and snuck in behind them. They could have communicated better. He could have commanded the back four better. Yeah. He was ball watching at the time. There was multiple errors that he'd done in that, and it wasn't just his fault. But as the leader in the back four, you're supposed to take command. And then, like Anton said, in the long term and the way you want to play, I would say he might lack the agility. I would say in the long term, and how high the manager does want to play up the pitch.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree.
It's very important. Yeah, because I remember, like I said before, Steve McLaren mentioned this: the top sides, you need to, in the way the modern managers play, you need to have a quick defender there. And I just want to touch on quickly Lisandro Martinez. What Ben was talking about. We haven't even seen the form of Lisandro Martinez. I'll be honest to you. The passing,
don't tease me like that. Don't tease me like that.
One thing already
is so fucking brilliant. I can't even.
One thing that I haven't seen a lot of, I have seen glimpses, is his ball playing abilities. At United's mainly been defending at the moment, and that's one thing that we bought him for, was ball playing. He's got the line breaking passes. He's got that over top switch as well. He's got so much variations in his passing. Is that I think, as the team, like I was talking earlier, chemistry, everything hits, you will see all of that. Right now, though, I would say, I guess he's beat all the leprechaun allegations. You know what I mean? I guess he's beating them all. So,
I have a question for you, Mr. Ton. Lisandro Martinez wasn't even our first choice. You clearly watch more Ajax than us. Do you think, as well, Timber, I think, is only 1 inch taller than Martinez. He's not that tall either. Do you think Martinez in the end has actually been a better signing than Jurriën Timber? Because as I'm hearing, or as I think I'm hearing, I don't think he's had a good season at Ajax so far.
It's a weird one. I said at the time, I would have preferred Timber for the way this team is currently. The team is currently, a Timber probably would have been better complement to someone like a Harry Maguire. How quick he is, how he's like, we don't have someone from midfield that drives. He drives literally like a centre mid. Do you know what I mean? He drives, creates goal, but even gets into the box like he's a strike. It's weird. He does some weird sort of new variation from centre back. So what he can do, as in with the ball, would have helped this team so much. But Lisandro Martinez, but it's like they both. it's that one. The only difference is I'll say Timber has a higher ceiling, but they're both good players. Do you know what I mean? They're both good players, and it wouldn't surprise me if we go back in for him. I'll be honest to you, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Especially with we clearly can't trust Varane now, man, as a centre back, and I'm not quite sure the manager likes Maguire. That's the problem right now, or favours him, should I say? That's another issue we will have to reach a crossroads at some point if the manager really likes him or wants to play him. And I know Harry Maguire, he seems like a football player that wants to play football. He's not going to be happy with sitting on the bench.
I got a question for everyone, I guess. Do you think we have to go in for a centre-back in January? Or do we just wait for Varane and Maguire to come back? Because really, we only have two.
I think we do. I think we do. I'm just going to say my last piece because my lights are about to go out. But I think we desperately do need... Yeah, unfortunately. Life in South Africa, everybody. Oh, no, I think we do need a centre-back desperately because Varane is obviously very injury-prone. And as much as I don't think, Lindelof or Maguire being in the team is going to directly cost us every single game, like I'm not, being melodramatic about those two. I think we'll be fine with them in the team. Long term, I don't think it's good enough. And I just look at the way this team wants to play. I look at Erik Ten Hag as a manager and how he wants to progress in the future. Him playing a high line with us, especially against teams in the bottom half of the table, camping on the halfway line, very much leaving the back door wide open. You want someone with pace next to Martinez so that even if he decides to veer forward, you have that extra cover. So I think we do need a centre-back. I just think the problem is we still don't have a striker. You know what I mean? We still don't have a striker. We still don't have a backup right back for Delo. So there are bigger problems in the team. I think for now, we keep Lindelof, we keep Maguire, we play Varane when he's fit, we play Martinez, and we worry about the other positions first. Then we look to get another centre-back in. I think that's my answer to that question.
No, fair enough. Cal, the floor is yours, pal. Welcome back.
Oh, hello. I brought someone with me this time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I actually think Harry Maguire's career as a United defender's over. Anyway, to be honest, I think he'd be gone next summer. I think he'd do well. I could see him going back to Leicester or something like that. In terms of defenders, have we all forgotten about Phil Jones? We've got him, haven't we? Yeah. So, I think everyone knows my opinion on Maguire. I don't think he's a Man United captain. Certainly, I think we've seen with Bruno taking over. I think he's probably a candidate to be the new permanent one. I don't particularly want to see. I don't want to see Maguire as captain. I'm not particularly happy with him as a starting centre back, to be fair, either. But like I say, I could see him going maybe next summer. My worry is obviously with Varane's injury record, but I think if he was, yesterday's injury was just a bit of a freak. He's obviously landed funny, or I don't know what he did. Did he pull his hamstring or something like that?
Yeah.
Obviously, he's at the World Cup. I think he's at the World Cup. I think he's at the World Cup.
It's I've read today it's up to the champs because I think he should be back just in time. If not, he'll miss the first game. Because I don't think it was as bad as feared. Because obviously we saw his reaction, so I don't think we'll go into the market for. I don't think we'll go into the market for anybody, to be completely honest. In January, I think obviously the money was spent.
Me neither. Yeah,
the money was spent in the summer is obviously. Stop it. I think it's obviously. I actually think it's probably dug into next summer's transfer budget as well. I wouldn't be surprised if next year we see a very limited spend, which is the way our owners go, but. I can't see us going in for a centre back, and I can't see Maguire being here much longer. He's not starting. I think he's a shoe-in for the World Cup, to be honest. I think Southgate is, isn't he? So
yeah, he's a shoe-in, yeah.
I don't think him not playing for United actually matters too much. I'd be very surprised if he didn't make it in the World Cup squad. Don't particularly think he should go. But I know a lot of people argue he's better for England, but I think international football is so different to the Premier League. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Maguire, and I think Martinez and Varane playing together you've even seen an improvement in De Gea, which I can't believe I'm saying. Casemiro being in front of that defence is a lot better as well. I think we saw that yesterday. I mean, Martinez is just absolutely unbelievable, isn't he? I think he's up there with probably signing in the summer. I think. I absolutely love the guy, and the fact that he's coming and just taking Maguire's spot just shows what a guy he is, and I think. Him in particular, is owed an apology from a lot of horrible spitting Scouse bastards, to be honest. Not mentioning no names, of course.
Well, it's one of those with Martinez. I mean, I was delighted when he came, to be honest. I hadn't seen a huge amount of him, but he came with a great reputation. I thought he might come and play holding midfielder. As we all know, I put that across, the summer. Mr. Tom quite rightly corrected me and said, no, he's in to play centre-half. And he's proven to be, I think, our signing of the summer alongside Eriksen. I think Eriksen's a close second on that because I think Eriksen is just superb. Eriksen's work rate is coming on, his vision. Ben was right. Notice again, we did play with 2 10s yesterday, but they kind of stayed away from each other. They didn't overlap and they didn't intercept each other, which they have been doing in various games. They stayed away from each other, which gave us way more control about the game. So,
ultimately, though, I think there's this thing that needs to be mentioned, though, in terms of the defence. The defence is obviously really shored up, but I still think there's a lot to. Personally, I still think Delo's obviously improved, but I still think we need another right back. I still think we're probably 3 or 4 players away, to be honest. We need a striker. I think we still need a right back. If Maguire was to go, obviously Axel's probably going to be leaving. I think Phil Jones is leaving. I actually didn't realise how many people are out of contract next summer, so I still think there's a bit more of a rebuild. I think the thing that holds me with hope is how good we actually are playing already under Ten Hag. I think the players are clearly buying into him, which is good. You'd expect that considering they're all professional footballers, but they're clearly all buying into him and they're clearly enjoying playing for him. It's just a shame a certain Portuguese forward is doing what he's doing, but it fills me with hope for the future knowing that we're playing this well now. If we can keep backing him and we can stay behind him, then I could see maybe in the next couple of years something genuinely happen under him. I still think the number one thing we've got is to get the owners out, obviously, and I'd still be a little bit worried in terms of winning major honours under them. I personally at this minute don't think that'll happen, but it does fill me with hope knowing that the manager we've got at the minute is actually playing good football with us. The players are playing well. Obviously there's a couple out of form, couple that haven't really found form at United yet, like Sancho, for example, but I'm not really worried about it. I still think they will do, and they'll get time and they'll get chances under Ten Hag. It seems to be quite a meritocracy at United at the minute, and I think that we were all crying out for under previous managers. The likes of Maguire was playing piss poor but was constantly playing. We've seen Ten Hag come and go. He's not played well and took him out of the team. But McTominay was playing really well, so he kept Casemiro out the side. We're seeing players rewarded for good form, and I think that's something that we can all admire about the manager, and the fact that United are doing so well at the minute, and we're still within touching distance of the top 4 and even the top 2, really, considering the teams we played. I think we've played like the top 11, basically.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, give or take.
I think we're 8 points off the top as well. So
so we've managed to stay within touching distance, which I think I don't think anyone can say anyone's going to win it other than Man City. I mean, they've literally got a cheat code in Haaland, haven't they, this year?
Callum, have you not heard? Arsenal have already won it. Arsenal, it's over. They've already won it.
Do you know what? To give Arsenal the credit, I'm shocked at them. Like, they're doing brilliantly. And
they're playing very well, aren't they? Yeah, tactically, they're very well, yeah.
But then again, with Arsenal, they've done the opposite to us. We've played 9 out of the top 11 teams.
They're reversed.
They've played 9 of the what you would say now is the bottom 11 teams. I mean, I'm not trying to. They're getting the results they need. That's what we've got to do now. If we're going to step up and get in a comfortable top 4 position before the World Cup, or get in the top 4 before the World Cup, we've now got to win these games convincingly. And Arsenal have done their job. We now need to do our job, and that's when we'll start to see the table, really start to balance out, won't we?
I think Arsenal are going to hit a brick wall as well.
I hope so.
When they start playing, I think they will. Like, they don't have the depth. I still don't think they have it.
We do really though at this minute.
We definitely don't have the depth.
We've done over the hour, guys. So I just wanted to ask one final question, and that was about our squad depth. We'll go around the room. I looked at the bench yesterday, and it didn't fill me with. I know we got some great youngsters. Don't get me wrong. Garnacho was on the bench, Iqbal was on the bench, etc. But we need better squad depth. When you look at our injuries, they are Maguire. Just take Varane out of the equation because obviously he started yesterday. But the injuries are Maguire. The injuries are Jones. The injuries are Williams. The injuries are to and Zabi. They're not what we would call first team starting 11 players. So where do you think, if anything, if we do get further injuries, we're going to struggle, really, aren't we, with squad depth? In my opinion, I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, can I start on this, Stu? Who's got?
Yeah,
look
go
at all
for
the
it.
benches this weekend, even Liverpool. Like,
I haven't looked. I must admit, I haven't looked around. So
they have to start. They've had to start. Good youngsters, not doubting that, youngsters that have great potential. But you're putting them next to world-class players and expecting them to already be on that level, and it's difficult for everyone in that scenario. So the only team that's got proper depth in this league is City.
Well, yeah, that's true.
The rest haven't. We're not blessed, and don't get me started on 5 substitutions. Anyway, I hate it. But it's just 2-stop-start. I mean, the one thing that I did see people criticising Ten Hag for the other day was when we was at 0-0, he didn't just throw caution to the wind and send on some of the younger players to play. But he's a very pragmatic manager. He wanted the team to continue to play the way that they've been instructed to play. And if you try to mix that with too much youth and too much gamble, you're going to completely lose your structure. And in playing against a big team like Chelsea and a team of great players like Chelsea, you don't want to risk it all and come out with nothing. So in the end, I think he actually managed to gain quite well. But I think on squad depth, any team and club's just an injury away from a big player. I'm not
sorry, Ben. Sorry, just to add to that as well. The thing is, with City having such good squad depth, is because they're winning all the time. I think that players there are happy to rotate because they know that when they do get the chance, they are kind of having to perform, and I think they thrive off that pressure. Chelsea, I don't think have bad squad depth though. I think Chelsea are probably all right.
Yeah, I looked at Chelsea's was decent. Yeah.
The thing for me is Chelsea's squad is just so unbalanced.
It is.
Like, in what way do you think? Out of interest,
Chelsea's squad. The issue I've got with Chelsea and their side is their strongest department is the midfield, but their midfield is so crippled in so many different ways. They've got injury problems. They're trying to pull Loftus-Cheek in, who's never really proved himself at this level, and he's not really reaching that potential. Kovacic.
Yeah, that's harsh.
What, Loftus-Cheek?
Yeah, I think that's quite harsh.
What do you think? You think Loftus-Cheek is up to it?
I don't think he's a bad player at all, Loftus-Cheek.
Who's a better player, Loftus-Cheek or McTominay?
Oh, Loftus-Cheek.
I'll probably say Loftus-Cheek.
Are they even on the same level?
Loftus-Cheek's better than McTominay, I think.
Really? Loftus-Cheek?
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with McTominay, but Loftus-Cheek's a very good player. I think you're being really harsh on him there.
I don't. Well, maybe I haven't seen enough of him, but whenever I've seen him play, I've not been impressed with Loftus-Cheek at all.
He was average on Saturday.
I think he daddies on the ball too much. I don't think he puts his body about for how big he is. And I also don't think that I don't know what he is. I don't know if he's a more forward progressive player or a more sit back defensive midfielder. I get confused with him because he doesn't really progress the ball very well either. He's a player that confuses me. But look, if Potter's seeing something in him, I like Potter. I think he's a really good manager, and I think he improves players. And it can only be a benefit to someone like Loftus-Cheek if Potter gets the best out of him and more out of him. I think we're going to see. Hopefully, you'll see a better player there. But for now, I'm not too convinced by Loftus-Cheek, especially when you're putting him next to someone like Jorginho in that midfield. It just sort of feels like a bit of a mismatch. Zakaria's not getting a game. Brozia's not getting on. Aubameyang's their centre forward. Has he really shown it now at his age? I don't know. I just feel they're all over the place, Chelsea, with their squad.
Well, they were yesterday. I mean, what was it, 25, 35 minutes? He changed it.
A lot of names, no consistency or conviction. That's the issue for me with Chelsea. But they can still put it out the bag. I've got no doubt about that. I think Potter's a great manager.
Yeah.
I genuinely think it'll be Chelsea or United for that fourth spot at this point in the season. I don't think Liverpool will make it. I think actually,
I agree.
We'll get in ahead of Spurs. We will.
I think we'll
finish above Liverpool this season.
I think we'll finish third.
I don't think. I think we'll get third.
I think we will. I think we're getting ahead of Tottenham. I do.
I've always said it. There's an opportunity this season for United, man. I just want to touch on that. What Ben said about Potter. Potter has improved them in their final third, in their patterns. I have noticed that, and even when I did a space with Chelsea fans yesterday, and they even admitted, in comparison to the start of the season, they are getting in better positions in the final third, and they can see like him implementing these ideas. And I have to give him credit. he actually changed the game yesterday for making that tactical substitution. And even Ten Hag in a post-match press conference even said the game changed once he made the tactical change. And after that, there was no control for us and we couldn't dictate the game. And I can't lie, I got to respect Potter for that, man. That was a good tactical change in the game.
Well, you know, a manager's got to do that. 50, 60, 70 million quid, however much Cucurella, changed or cost. It wasn't working for them. I thought it was a very, very strange setup by Potter.
Yeah, Cucurella at centre back baffled me when I saw that. To be honest,
baffled me as well. Completely baffled me. Was it a case of shoehorning Cucurella in, and because he wanted to get Chilwell in at the same time? I don't know. It's a very strange setup because when you looked at Azpilicueta and Chilwell, they were very far advanced in terms of not the natural wing back position. And we were just ripping through the middle, absolutely destroying them through the middle. So, guys, it's we've gone way over the hour now, so I'm going to wrap it up. I do want to say a quick thank you to my guests, but before I do, I'm just going to remind everybody once again, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Please keep it pink. Please pray for anybody that you know that may be suffering with it. It's men and women, don't forget. Women get or everybody seems to think it's women, but men do suffer from breast cancer as well. So if you know anybody, you can donate to anything. Just please keep it keep it going this month. It's really, really important. Ben, the gaffer, has joined us. It's always great when the gaffer joins us, but he always makes me nervous because he's a much better host than I am, and I'm, that's not what I do. I don't host. I like to talk about football, I'm not a great host. But Ben, it's been a pleasure to have you. Can you just let everybody know what's coming up this week?
I think we've got Anything Goes tomorrow at 9, and then we've got the Sheriff preview, and then Anton, you're going to try and do a watch along for that, aren't you? We're gonna go live during the game on Thursday. We've got some good plans about me and Anton, so we're going to have a look at that, and then we will have a preview for the West Ham game. I'm trying to think, it is West Ham, isn't it, on Sunday? West Ham on Friday, then last word after the West Ham game on Sunday.
Excellent. And me and Abdul will be getting together as soon as we can.
Oh my God, it's like trying to get my favourite boy band together.
I'm so sorry about that. It's just been difficult. It's I'm back at tracks now at weekends. It's a bit of a pain, really. But
talking about tracks, Connor's watching, and I bet he's happy.
Well, he will be, won't he? We don't
want to say that today. I was gutted. I thought Lewis had literally 10 laps to go.
Got him on the wrong tyre again. Hadn't they? He was on the hard tyre.
To be fair, the medium was shite for the whole weekend until those last 20 laps. So anyway,
I know, it was amazing.
We'll have a conversation for another day.
It is. Anton, where can everybody find you, pal? Where's your socials?
My social media is at Anton Brooks AMB. It's very simple. You'll find me there on Twitter. If you'd like to follow, make sure you do. Guys,
please make sure you tune in on Thursday for a watch along. If Anton's hosting and Ben is there, please tune in because it'd be great. Mr. Ton, as well as Spaces, where can everyone find you?
At my Twitter, Mr_CO Ton. Can DM me, whatever. That's what normal people do. Have conversations about football. I'm always there for a chat, man.
All right. You can go online and abuse me at Stu Woolley as normal at Twitter, or you can find me on The Last Word and also on a Wednesday. As I said before, myself and Abdel will be getting together to shoot some tactical reviews or previews, depending on when we can do it. And we will be working throughout the World Cup. Ben will go live on Twitter and let everybody know what shows we're doing during the World Cup, etc. And I am now going to switch myself and Callum, because Callum is the real host of The Last Word. And so the last word goes to Callum Stone.
I think you're pretty much the host at this point, Stu. It's been a long time since I hosted, really, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's been great to have you back, mate. It'd be great to have you back. It really would.
Yeah, good to have you back, Cal.
I got back. Like I did say to Ben yesterday, I was basically out, so I was going to try and get back and jump on this. So I was sorry I was so late. But yeah, obviously you can find me on Twitter there, _Callum Stone. Don't DM me. I don't want you to. But yeah, no, it's good to be back. It's good to chat football. It's good to be talking in positive circumstances instead of negative ones, like what seemed to be the case quite a lot when I hosted. Maybe that's why United are starting to win, because I've not hosted for a while. But yeah, it's good to be back. Good to see everybody. Obviously, Anton, I've not met you before, but it's nice to meet you. I'm at the game on Thursday as well, so if anyone's knocking about, give us a shout. And yeah, it's nice to see the show's in good hands with Stu hosting. I think, is it just you that's been hosting, Stu? I'm sure someone else has hosted as well, haven't they?
Well, somebody made
It's done good.
if somebody made a fleeting appearance. I don't know. He calls himself the Gaffer. He just turned up one day and took over.
Well, wait a second. Can we stop this the Gaffer thing? Why do people keep calling me the Gaffer? I hate it.
That's what happens in football.
No,
You're the boss, the Gaffer.
Not Gaffer of anything.
No, Ben has hosted once, but no, Carl, I'll keep the seat warm till you back, mate. But this is your show, and I do tell everybody, don't I, lads? It's I'm only sitting in for Callum. I'll make it very, very clear, mate. It is your show.
He needs to become that because it's called The Last Word because Callum likes to have the last word.
He
So
does.
otherwise, there's no concept for the show. We'll have to have the first word because Stu likes to have the first word. So
I like to have the first word, I do. But no, I've enjoyed hosting for you, mate. But it is your show, mate, and I'm just sitting in for you, mate. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I know what day of the weekend do we play next weekend? Anybody know?
We're 4:15 next week.
We got West Ham, haven't we?
Are we at home or away?
We're away. No, home.
We're at home. It's our final home game, isn't it? I think. Before...
Okay, I might try and get myself a ticket for that then. All right, no worries. Yeah, well, I'll see if I'm back, and if I can do next week's show, I will. I guess it depends on if I go with the game or not, but if not, I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted anyway, Ben, and saying to you, Stu. But nice to talk football again.
Like and subscribe. Shall I hit the outro still, or you?
No, you go for it, please, boss.
I'll hit the outro. We'll go. Let's see if it works. See if I know how to do this.